quite sure I would like to do this. And we're live.
Well, evening and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence for what probably amounts to our second ever live performance, I suppose is an appropriate term. Yeah, because...
Yeah, you can call it that.
Yeah, can't you?
Fuck yeah.
We are here to talk to you again about fucking video games, and it's not for the first time. It might be for the 57th, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty sick.
Something like that.
Not counting our live broadcast of the fucking Game Awards just a couple of days ago. So we hope all of you fine people are well. And today we're here with something a little bit more exciting than the Game Awards, in my opinion. What do you think?
I am inclined to fucking agree with you on that.
There's only one
Definitely.
person at the Game Awards who even mentioned the fucking game, and it's probably because his countenance graces most of it.
Probably. Mr. fucking Keanu Reeves himself.
There,
he was there, yeah. And you're right. He was like one of the only, I think maybe the only person to make mention of Cyberpunk there. It's in a weird place, this game right now.
It's in a weird place.
Yeah.
It's not in a weird place financially. They made a lot of money, but their stock price tanked fucking because of a lot of the stuff surrounding this game.
A lot of the bad press, I guess, going on around.
Yeah, a lot of bad press. Not even on Metacritic. It's strange. It's one of those things where that bubble has been relatively unaffected, though. It's not coasting by with like a 93 like something like a Zelda would. So
right, yeah. Actually, Breath of the Wild sat on like a 97 for a while, but
97.
But it is strange
is that a joke. Like, sorry.
No, like
Anyways.
the 97. Yeah, even like Ocarina of Time, those have been like the two highest rated.
I can't believe these words would ever come
out
out of my mouth, but I'm with Jim Sterling on that one. You know.
Why you gotta do me like that, man?
Just in the sense that 97.
I love Breath of the Wild.
No,
maybe
I know
not.
you do, but
maybe
I know
not.
you understand that. Like, what the fuck? Are you
Yeah,
kidding
maybe
me?
not to the.
You're gonna say it's better than all the other games that you think are also amazing? By that much?
Fair.
That's
a
crazy.
fair point. That's a fair point.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I see why you do, though. Like, I'm just saying the reason why I don't want to play it is because there's obviously elements there that, like, you're telling me that, you know. Well, we're going to get into this anyways, but it seems like that exact game compared to this one and the kinds of things packed into it and the kinds of issues they both have, they're great to compare to discuss why people have reacted differently to both of them, you know?
Definitely.
People on both sides have different really stupid issues, and also just normal human beings who love video games on any side of any issue. They just look at both of those games differently for different reasons. Shit, man, it was an arduous. Let's talk about this a little bit of a personal slant.
All right.
Fuck, it was a bit of an arduous time this week getting our hands on our physical copies of Cyberpunk, and
yeah, that was definitely a struggle.
It was a struggle, but having gotten them, that tension did fade away. Though the initial 2 days were a bit fucking interrupted for me personally. I don't know, man. What about you?
I mean, with it basically released the night or the day of the Game Awards, and the night prior, it really launched for us because it was 7 and 12 respectively. So I'm glad I had that chance to play it before, because then the next night, like, we were covering the Game Awards, which is even the first time we've gone live on YouTube and done anything like that. That was sick, right? So we were excited for that, but I'm not gonna lie, part of me was sitting here like kind of like with like a 2-hour tease of Cyberpunk. I didn't actually get out into the world yet, and I was like, this is like terrible timing. I really want to do that. Anyways,
we're gonna have to put a lot more effort into getting codes beforehand,
and getting on the titles earlier. Yeah, that would be good. But we're here now.
I think I've played a good. I don't know. How long do you think you've played?
I've played probably a good solid 4 or 5 hours, which is fuck all nothing, but...
It's not nothing, though.
I spent a lot of time even just sort of running around, taking in the world, right? Like running into cars to see how it would, like what would happen. Like, I think you can, when you were... stupid anyway, but you can call your own car, and then, like, if you run towards it, it'll hit you, and I was like...
It's funny, for sure. A lot of little fun things.
Right, anyway, but...
Even the way that you die when you fall is...
Yeah.
Something straight out of like a fucking anyways.
I think that was what probably would have like was so appealing to me and probably you, like just the world itself. So as soon as I had a chance, like I didn't want to just continue with the story missions and stuff. Like I went straight into just run around and see the world, like how it's crafted, how they sort of put this whole thing together. And I actually was listening to a short clip of Skill Up talking about it. I think he mentioned it feeling like there's like a city stacked on top of a city. So, like it's just there's so many layers of shit, right? It's not like just like a flat thing. Like it truly so far seems like an impressive world. And I mean, we kind of picked up on that just based on the book we bought a couple months back. Right, we could see the dedication they were putting into.
It's well built.
Craft
too,
this,
like, interesting avenues to get from the bottom to the top of things, and like there's walls and interesting places, and you have to consider how you get over them just as a matter of going places. And they give you movement abilities later on that
that's sick.
Make a little bit of that easier, right? And they even have stuff like you grabbing ledges. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? You grab ledges. When you add a double jump to that and a fucking charge jump with your double jump, then obviously the movement opportunities become
you can almost like parkour at that point, right? Just running, jumping, fucking like it becomes a different game. Like we always talk about Bloodstain, right? Yeah. That'll be interesting to see late game and stuff. Yeah. Especially if you're gonna plan on maining like katanas the whole time, which is something I'm thinking about doing, and I know you are as well.
Build for sure.
Yeah.
And it also will go well with an assault rifle build, so your two main weapons can be those two things, and you can throw submachine guns on as your third one too, because they all stack with the same speed stat, right? It's pretty nice. I've really been enjoying the game too, man, for the same reasons you said. Like, just walking around the world has this magical sensation to it. You've got good headphones on, you hear all the crazy stuff going on around you. The conversations people are having are awesome. They don't repeat the same dialogue lines, at least to my
I mean,
like,
we're definitely
with any degree of frequency, right? Like, they have interesting conversations about figures in the world that, like, before you're going into a mission, maybe will even reveal something about what you're going to see to you, right? Little things like that. Yeah,
we're definitely early on to say, but so far so fucking good. Like,
definitely early on, yeah. But I mean, I spent a lot of time with the mechanics so far, for sure. I spent a good 20 hours probably with it, maybe a little bit less with the mechanics, 15 maybe, I don't know. I had a few good play sessions with it, sitting there like fucking, and restarted my save once after the first one. And I don't know, man, I really do enjoy the way that it plays. Like, coming out of the gate, I was like, fuck, it's a bit chundery, the movement is a bit weird, but I tweaked the settings a little bit to get rid of that acceleration as you depress the analog stick.
Yeah, you're really playing on the PS4, right? Or the PS5.
Yeah. I mean,
see, I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, so I don't notice that so much. But I did the same thing in Red Dead. There's some weird settings with like the dead zones of your analog stick that
dead
make it feel like,
it's
awful. So I think maybe I mean, it's good that you can fine tune it to kind of your liking. I like it feeling more instantaneous and snappy, right?
Me too.
Rather than, and then the acceleration thing fucks me up too. I don't like that. I don't know. That's why I don't play with a controller though. So if sometimes if I have the opportunity in an FPS, I'll likely play on the PC, right? Or just like you said, you can't go with like the default settings.
Yeah, you can just tweak.
Weird that they're like that, but
I think great games like Destiny have, mastered how to implement that stuff on consoles. Like, great games in terms of their shooting mechanics.
Right.
If not anything else, though, I do admire Destiny for many reasons. We've talked about that before, right? But
fuck yeah.
Yeah, man, it's great. Like, running around the world, looting enemies that you've killed with one weapon only to find a better version of it or a cooler weapon that you're excited about. Like, that kind of, in the first couple of hours I found, you kind of get a feel for what kinds of weapons you're going to be seeing, right? You visit the gun vendor, as you kill a bunch of dudes, you get a nice stock of stuff. And you can really start experimenting. Like, what do I want to have in my 2-3 slots, And it's a great feeling, man. I myself personally, like, I settled on an assault build with katanas and fucking...
Yeah, I've sort of fallen into that same thing. Like, I use a pistol a little bit because some of them have higher DPS than the assault rifles, but...
They do, yeah.
I don't think I'm
They're slower.
Gonna be... I don't think I'm gonna pull forward with that or upgrade any of my perks. There's a lot of perks in this fucking game, too.
There are a lot.
It feels like... It's hard to say now because it's our first playthrough, but... Feels like over time, as people sort of dive into it more and more, we'll see like tons
a little bit of theory
of different
crafting,
fucking builds. Yeah, like
it's
all
not like
kinds.
It's some crazy like unmappable quantity of skills or anything like that. Like, sooner or later, people will figure out the combinations. Yeah, exactly. But it looks like evidently there's different ways they want things to synergize. You can tell just based on what the skills do with each other. Certain things, give you healing if you're within range of people or if you're moving and stuff like that across different trees. So
yeah, it's part of the reason like I haven't really I don't think I've spent any of my perks yet, just because like I want to like kind of get a feel of where I'm gonna go with it, right? Like, everything's so new. Like this whole fucking game it's one of the more novel games we've seen released, right?
I think
for
me, like, the setting is definitely novel
setting for
in terms of a AAA game. Like, I'm just looking at the footage right here and like how fun it is to just, employ the mechanics. Like, finding the katana and like messing around with it, it's so fun. Look at that. Do you love that? People's limbs just fly off. It's good times.
This is definitely a very adult game in
really
like
fun,
every sense of the word. Like
they have dodge functionality with like slowing down time again, like all of the things that I really appreciate in an action game. All the parts are there. If that's used to express the kind of world that I like to inhabit, and this is definitely one of those. One thing I hate though on the console, you see what happens there is it's a tangential thing. Like, you fucking activate the photo mode by depressing both of the analog sticks at the same time.
Oh,
so
really?
Frequently when I'm trying to just do
dice people up with katana.
Or if you're trying especially to run and attack somebody with a gun at the same time with the melee, which is by pressing the right and left stick at the same time.
Okay, so you've accidentally triggered that a few times, I guess, eh?
Yeah, that's a bit annoying.
It's a minor gripe. There have been, there's numerous gripes I guess we can get into later that people are complaining
that later,
about.
but like, yeah, me too. Like, you were saying to me before, just being in the world, like, you get this sense that there's a bunch of unsettling and mystifying components. Like, you inhabit other people's brains. Like,
it's fucked.
Everything is commoditized. You see strange, like, sexual imagery everywhere, but it's, like, always fucking kind of off and disturbing, and including components that probably shouldn't, right? Like,
I think that's what I like about it so much.
Yeah,
like,
man, it's definitely a techno dystopia. Like, these people read a lot of fucking Neuromancer. I mean, so did Mike Pondsmith, I guess, before he wrote the fucking shit, but... It's good stuff, man. I particularly enjoy that too, and I like how, you talk to people like Jackie and even hear about your own character. Like, so much of their personalities and like what they are and who they are is like determined by the fact that they live in Night City and they fucking have to cope with these carnivorous social structures their whole lives. And
that's true. Yeah, that's
fucking have to deal with the fact that actually their bodies can go obsolete, right? Like.
Yeah, it's part of the part of the immersion in the world crafting, right? Just everything feels so fucking like.
It's one thing Victor says to you, the doctor. It's like, fuck, always, all the time. So many people come in here, like, their actual bodies are going obsolete. They work for these corporations, and if they don't get new updates, they'll fucking just be. That's it.
What a fucked up thing to consider, right? Like, they that's the thing. This game touches on so many like, just weird fucking,
strange consequences of one fucking kind of central issue, in my opinion, right? Which is this techno commodification of man, like the reduction of people to like interchangeable trade format parts, essentially. It's kind of like a fucking persistent theme throughout what it means for something to be cyberpunk, but I think that's what orients everything here. Like, even a character like Jackie or your character, like, they're hoping to get in on this fucking big heist, and once they do, they'll be fucking golden. Their bodies will be set forever. They can live to be a fucking 150 years old, like that fucking Arasaka president there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, the social structure is still carnivorous, and that's
a
thoroughfare implication of all the things that happen. It's a great game, man. Like, the world building's cool. I really like once you get into talking to people and stuff like that, and listening to them, like, all of this stuff that you hear about that's going on, like the kind of culture that you encounter is badass, Everybody's cynical and miserable as a side effect, I'm sure, of living in that kind of place. It's a fucking horrifying thing. And like, aside from that though, like, just moment to moment, like, I spent a good few hours just running around the world. I love the gameplay. I love just chopping people up, collecting money, collecting parts, like, just fucking, I'm like, yes, I need to fucking get 40 grand to go to the Ripper Dock and a certain amount of street cred to get this. It's got those RPG mechanics.
Yeah.
Clear goals, fun things you can do, and everywhere you go you find fucked up little
tons
details
of jobs
about the world,
and shit that you can fucking just to make some extra cash.
Most of the details that you find in the world are actually, like, in all of these jobs, just about how, like, all of these fucking implications of people becoming commoditized, they're nefarious, right? Like, they find a way to, like, broadcast human experience, essentially, and you find all of these instances where
the brain dances,
they like record people being murdered so they can broadcast it to other people who get the adrenaline rush of being killed in this fucking artificial sense. It's fucked up.
That's fucked, eh?
Yeah, but that's the thoroughfaring theme, I guess you could fucking say, in this game. Is it's picture of fucking the future as one reduced to, or at least approaching, some kind of like techno commodified singularity where everything is reducible to interchangeable trade format parts. Like, and fucking what happens to people in that setting. Other than being able to buy and sell their parts that are literally able to be liquidated, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it paints a pretty fucking good picture of what I would imagine would happen under that kind of circumstance.
These
like
technological circumstances.
People are miserable.
Anyways, I guess so. It's pretty fucking cool, at least in that sense.
Fucked,
it's like
yeah.
It's loyal to its own principles and vision of what reality is like. But that, we could maybe on that note get on to our second point of the evening, which is why, in my opinion, I'm hoping to convince you and everybody else too, other people dislike this game so much. And I think it's because, first and foremost, we can get this out of the way, that people think of CD Projekt Red as the Gamergate company, which personally this is an issue I don't give a fuck about. I don't even want to touch this shit.
I would rather not talk about it at all.
I don't care about anything to do with any of that.
Right.
Forget that altogether. Secondarily, though, it comes to this fucking notion of like representation, identitarian representation of different demographics in this game, and the way certain identities have been represented. People are fucking taking issue with it, but to them I would say, like, to quote fucking actually somebody Kotaku there, though to use their own words probably in an intention they wouldn't agree with, right? This is not a progressive game. Like, nobody said it would be. It's not, which is fine. Not every game is, and I don't even know what a progressive game really is. I don't know what could constitute one,
Sure.
This next thing he said fucking really appealed to me, right? He said any identities that are depicted in service of its vision of a cyberpunk future, of a techno-capital singularity. This idea that fucking humanity has been totally dehumanized and reduced to trade format, interchangeable parts. Like, every part of you is like Lego. You can buy and sell it and replace it according to your whimsy. The only thing that separates you from everybody else is money and desire. That's it, right? And it depicts that vision of the future. So people are like, oh, why can't it depict a more radical politics? It's because, what the fuck? Politics is out of date with the human form.
Yeah,
bro.
like, at that point,
there's no such thing as politics. Your people are gone. Anyways. I guess that would be my response to that. That would be PC Gamer saying, why can't it depict more radical politics? I wish it led the charge against capitalism. Like, no, man, it's depicting the dystopian consequences of capitalism, that people are reduced, again, to technological parts that can be bought and sold. Every part of your identity is reduced to that. And I think when people at places like Polygon and Kotaku and Jason and all of the Muppets say that the game dehumanizes a certain demographic, they mean to say that it treats the identity of that demographic as something to be bought and sold and desired, but it treats the human condition as that. That's the point of Cyberpunk, right? That people will be reduced, again, to like fucking commodified, like fucking, your biology is no different than technological parts that can be bought and sold and interchanged,
upgraded,
at your will, right?
fucking,
There's like this common medium between all difference that we can use to transcend everything, including, everything that we are, and become anything else, at least if we have the resources to do so. So that's fucking the dystopian theme of this, right? And I think perhaps people are
not quite thrilled about it.
They're not thrilled about the implications of this, right? Because it seems to posit a lot of identitarian politics as just like fucking avenues on the road to this, right? It's just people's identities becoming commoditized and reduced to like a singular, plane of consistency, where everything coincides. Where it's like, it doesn't matter what you are, you can fucking participate too, man. The problem is not really with the structure. The problem is with that people have been excluded from it, The vibe is here, right? Like, and I think Cyberpunk speaks of a future in which that plane of consistency includes everybody. They're like, no, man, everything and everyone and everything that anybody could ever be is included. And if not, we could just give you a new part to replace yourself.
Anyways, whatever you want to be. It's all here, baby. Like,
absolute, like, fucking market immanentization, you could say, Everything that people could become or want or desire is reduced to some plane where everything can participate on the basis of. But, like, at the end of the day, we have to remember that this is this ultimate form of inclusion is, I guess, fractional, right? It only fucking purchases everybody participating by reducing them to some common fucking dehumanizing element, That's ultimately the message, right? I guess if there is such a thing as the message, but I think it's more appropriate maybe to call it a vision, That's what the game fucking takes as its, like, central premise. What happens when we fucking reduce, like, everything that is a person to something we can quantify and reduce to technology, And he runs.
Are we even fucking humans anymore? That's some fucking.
I mean, like, then people are people, but then are people different from their environment and all of the stuff around them? And what is the consequences of that? And what kind of society results from it? That's what this game explores, And a lot of reviewers have said things like, oh, well, fuck, I meet some characters who have lost their homes and fucking it doesn't seem like the game addresses the consequence of this, or they don't address how other people see them and exclude them from society. And it's like, no, man, there are other ways in which the game addresses this exact theme of what the other is, you know, like they have people who are veterans of these like fucking corporate wars. Like they went to fucking Brazil to fight in the jungles. You meet people like hiding in apartments and they're trying to kill you and shit like that. And they're telling you about how like their minds are deteriorating as a result of having these fucking like military cyberwares imposed on their bodies and stuff like that. And you find all these documents of like whistleblowers trying to expose like the fact that getting cybernetic enhancements can just drive you fucking mad and turn you into an animal, you know?
Oh, what was that called? Cyberpsychosis. Yeah.
Which is exactly like a fucking metaphor for this metaphor of the human condition that Cyberpunk fucking, you know, displays to us, right?
Right.
Like, the sense that fucking man will be reduced to his, you know, mechanic parts essentially, and what happens to a mind in those circumstances. Even V's story arc, like I came to find very recently, and you know, we won't describe the details of it though, deals exactly with this. Like what happens when you reduce consciousness to a technic medium that can be bought and sold and interchanged, right?
That's fucked.
Yeah. And I think like it's very evident why people who like to think of themselves as progressive won't like this fucking concept, because it seems to reduce progressive politics of all kinds. Like it seems to reduce the tendency for inclusion to a tendency towards techno-capital singularity. Like the idea that, yeah, it's great, let's include everyone so they can buy and sell their fucking way into personhood. You know?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, this paints a fucked up picture for that kind of thing, right? So we can obviously see why the games media is not friendly to this. But
the message is that diversity consists in the reduction of all difference to the market. You know?
But the strangest thing about it is that, for the most part, obviously it's still reviewing well, and I think it deserves to review well. It you know, even just with 5 hours of gameplay, it's to me it deserves, you know, good reviews, fine, whatever, even though we hate reviews and fuck. But it's still getting slammed in the media. It's weird that it's happened like that. It's not like they gave it shit reviews and they're slamming it. Like most of the publications and everything, they've still given it.
But you'll
good
find
reviews,
that every one of those reviewers or slanderous articles mentions the fact that this is a Gamergate studio for whatever the value. I don't even know what that means. What is Gamergate? Who gives a fuck
don't even
about
want
these
it. Yeah.
things? Read a book, you useless cunt.
Fucking.
Sorry. We can say that though, right?
That's fine. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, does it even have anything to do with Gamergate? Like,
I honestly can't fathom what.
CD Projekt Red has good pedigree because of their past games. People hold them in high regard for being consumer, you know.
I am not one of those people though. Here's the thing. I don't care
There's
about
no
any
reason
of that
to,
stuff. I don't care about consumerism.
Yeah.
I don't care that you give people free things. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of that. The only thing I care about is when I bought the book for the universe describing this game months ago, written by people who work at that studio and are working on this game. I was like, yeah, this is the mind that will make a game that I'll like to play and be in that world. I'm like, yes, this is exactly that, you know? Yeah. Every fucking thing that you do pertains to that central concept. Like, it's exactly like, again, to return to this,
No.
To return to this reviewer at Kotaku here, right? Like, this is like, I like what this guy says. He says, again, I don't know what he meant to fucking imply by this assertion, but it is true, right? It's not a progressive game. Any identities it depicts are in service of its vision of a cyberpunk future. In service, that is, of a vision where identity itself is reduced just to a medium, you know, something you can buy and sell. Your fucking very existence is just a matter of the parts that you decide to comprise yourself of, you know?
Yeah.
And the implications for that in terms of what people think of as identitarian politics are depressing. What does that make of race or sex or gender, right? Like,
makes it like, meaningless, right?
It's a bit of a deconstruction of those very concepts, right? So I think it's a bit disingenuous to say, well, Cyberpunk doesn't offer like a more radical politics. Like, how could it?
That's the thing, right?
It offers a vision of a dehumanized future.
That goes against
there can be no politics in a post-intentional future. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, there's that, and there's the stuff with any different groups of identities, people being dehumanized or fetishized or exploited. No, man. It fetishizes the very human condition. You know, it commoditizes the very human condition, everything about being a person, down to your very consciousness. The central part of the storyline is about that, right? Like,
yeah.
So I think people just fundamentally they don't like what it offers.
What it's
in that it deconstructs their identities, what they are, their whole worldview, the whole milieu of like humanist self, right? Like the concept that you're this guy, this independent structure in the world, atomic, divorced from everything else. You can't be fucking compromised. Like you're a secure system, you know? Like, no, man. In this vision, like, yeah, it's not like that. Everything is reduced to interchangeable parts. And like, if you read it in that sense, what does it imply for things like gender identity, you know?
Yeah,
or
that's
human
true.
sexuality or anything else.
Which would explain some of this, backlash
towards it
from the media. Yeah, but the strange thing for me that I guess would be our last point that we wanted to touch on was, of course, there are technical issues that have been cropping up, and we'll get into that in a second. But like I said, it seems that like the game still received good reviews, but now it's being slammed over and over for technical stuff that I guess I can't say whether or not it deserves to be because I haven't encountered the same issues, but is it fair that it's being like bastardized to this point? Like people are fucking calling out for blood, saying like CD Projekt Red
honestly
should
like
be sued. Like they
I don't
fucking like they're
maybe
really
they should. Honestly,
fucking,
like I don't feel like this totally is outside the fucking realm of anything that I give a fuck about. This is a consumer or a business issue.
I
don't
agree.
care about that at
the
all.
problem is like people will inevitably say like,
They will.
oh, you don't care about, you're spending money on a product. You should get a finished product. But
why?
This is the game industry. I know. You could go on.
Maybe. It has nothing to do with the point. The point is
very muddled.
This will be important. This will get us back to fucking something that is important. So I think in the issue we just discussed, what we were talking about is whether or not the thing was executed well. People disagree with its vision. And what we were talking about here is people arguing that the vision was not executed well. On a technical level.
On a technical level,
it's a purely material point.
Right. Fine. Yeah.
There's a few things to say about this. I think points that we've made in the past. And
probably.
I mean, I can only comment on my own experience so far, which is that, well, my game has fucking crashed on PS5 a couple of times, literally twice, I think.
Right.
Which is what Demon's Souls crashed in the same.
I had one, or I think actually just one crash on Demon's Souls.
Just to say that these things happen, and definitely it's not fucking pleasing to me, but
no. From
my perspective, the difference between this and something to do with the actual video game, because to me this doesn't have to do with the video game, these technical issues. So this is a matter of expression, it's a matter of the instrument of the guy's fucking idea fucking failing in some capacity.
On him, yeah.
I think in this case, it has to do with the fact that I think this game is fucking being conveyed across how many different consoles. How does it have to function on?
Well,
not to say that I sympathize. I just mean to say I sympathize even less with the people for whom it is not working, because that's not my job or anybody else's. Why should I care that your game is not working for you? I'm here to talk about the game as it is. When it does work in its concept, right? The fact that it fails may be a consumer issue. What does it have to do with the quality of the game? You see reviews getting bad reviews because is this about consumer issues? That's like fucking, this movie, well, it's a great movie, but they charge us $90 to get inside. Yeah. It's a shit movie.
So it sucks.
This book, fuck, the words on the page were smudged. Fuck this book. It's
awful. Like when you see a fucking Amazon review and they say like, it came 2 days later than Amazon said it would. Like, what does that have to do with
it? The box was broken. You're not reviewing the product anymore. I just mean to say, and while people's issues may be valid,
probably are
I frankly, I just don't care, man. I've never cared about things like that. I've played so many broken games or apparently broken games in my whole life. Never had the kind of problems that anybody has ever said that they had, and I just don't care. If you do, I don't care. I just don't care. Sorry, bro. That's your problem. I just don't care. It has nothing to do with the game. Is the game good in how it should be? It's expressed badly? Is that your argument? I argue that it's not. But even if it was, what does that have to do with the thing being expressed? That's what I'm here to talk about. That's what I argue you should be here to talk about. The actual
subject matter, the meat and potatoes of everything. I know. It's true. And then inevitably, like The Witcher or I'll use Battlefield 4 as an example. It'll work and be fixed at some point. And then what? And then is it okay to only talk about the... Well, you know what I mean? Once it's fixed and working.
Again, I just don't care, man. Isn't
that's
fucking
what I mean,
a great game like Fallout New Vegas remembered as a fundamentally broken
maybe that
game that
launched
janked out
broken.
all the time? It did,
Probably,
of course it did.
Yeah.
It barely worked on most.
Who the fuck talks about that now?
Everyone.
Nobody.
Everyone does. It's remembered that way. But who cares? It's remembered as the best Fallout game.
That's exactly what I mean.
Because in spite of its technical issues, people fucking understood exactly what I'm saying right here. That's maybe a technical barrier to the expression of a very ambitious and awesome idea. You're bound to encounter problems like that.
That's exactly what Cyberpunk is like.
My God.
Yeah.
And there's actually people saying, like, I'd rather they just make a less ambitious game. I'd rather they make it, less. Because then the people would get to spend more time with their families. Like, again, do you care about games or people's families? We're here to talk about games. Fuck you. Okay? Go make a show about something else, man. Yeah. This is not controversial at all. Sorry, I'm not talking about identifiable demographic, just people with this slant. Like, whatever you're talking about, we're not talking about the same thing. I see all kinds
of, maybe I should just stay off Twitter because I see all kinds of garbage on Twitter of people, and it's always the same thing. It's like just is any game worth human? Yes, random. Yes, is anything worth doing not worth human sacrifice? Who does things that aren't? What do you do in your life that just is comfortable? Yeah. What depressing bourgeois, perfectly cyberpunk vision of life is that? Where you just buy and sell your way to fucking. Anyways, you can get tangential. I mean, I think that pretty much summarizes the fucking issue with the technical. And that's like the big thing right now that's being pandered around and thrown around.
I don't know. My wife's playing it right now on PS4 Pro. Maybe not base PS4. She's having no problems. I have no problems other than it crashing.
I have zero problems on the PC except that I want to upgrade my graphics card. I think it crashed too when I was
trying to fucking edit videos of it on PS5, not just playing the base game like on its own, right? So I don't know exactly what.
I don't know. My cousin's having issues. Apparently, he's been messaging me saying his has been crashing, but
you know what I did notice when I play games on Spotify. And play PS5.
Oh, you have Spotify running it. Yeah.
Problems. It gets jank.
I can see happening. Yeah.
I gave up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice actually, it got real jank. I was worried. Yeah. So
might be that might be more of an OS thing, maybe, or some. Who knows, right? But that should be worked.
That's my sentiment though concerning this game so far. We got the fact that definitely I fucking enjoy it a lot. I think I understand why other people don't really enjoy it that much. And concerning these technical fucking issues, like. No doubt they'll be solved, but even if they're not, like, it's not a fucking strike against the concept, which is, at the very least, all I give a fuck about. That's what the game consists in, right? You should take it in its optimal case, which does exist in many cases, and that's what you should evaluate. No, it doesn't work on PS4 Basic. Like, who thought it would? Are you... who said...
I almost feel like even like we almost didn't need the game at this. Like, it's sick. Don't get me wrong. I'm having a great time and I want to play more of it and I love the game. But like as soon as we got our hands on that book, like it was almost like we immediately.
I feel you, but now like I'm fucking walking. Look at this shot right here. Like I'm walking through that shit.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Look around you.
Wow.
Like that's it. Like I'm planting a fucking bug on a Soviet official's vehicle here.
Who may be listening to this in podcast form, we're probably gonna upload. We have some footage going.
Yeah.
Along with our scary-looking faces.
Yeah. Horrifying.
But if you're into that kind of thing, I mean, then check it out on YouTube /Green Dragon CVR.
Super pleased with this game, man. I can't emphasize the fact enough that I just like love walking around and looking at stuff.
Same. It really, that was the first thing. Like I said, I just wanted to see the world. I wanted to see how it was crafted, what it looks like, everything. Right?
There's street preachers that you find.
All over,
complaining about people like losing their minds. Like, I think it's this consistent theme in the game that like implants are fucking making people crazy and destroying
cyberware, brain damage.
But like the corporations shut that shit down because and the cyber psychosis and like stuff. But there's like street preachers, like bums on the street, like complaining. And you talk to them, and if you stand there just staring at them for a few seconds, like speech options appear. You can be like, "So cyberware is evil. Like, what do you want me to do? Rip out my fucking retinal implants? Like, what do you want, right?"
That's sick. That's like some cool consistency.
Little stuff like that. I really do dig it. Look at this. My fucking guy's just some like kind of merc with a katana, combat boots, and a bulletproof vest, and like a do-rag. I just killed some Arasaka gangster and took his blue shirt.
Nice.
Yep. Now the pants match. See.
Nice. That's cool, man. So I guess you could. I guess it's viable to sort of pick something you relatively like and just keep upgrading it as a, you know what I mean?
The weapons, absolutely it is. But you'll usually find better ones. Like
even like armor too, though, or not so much.
I don't really know. You could do it with armor.
My strongest pant armor right now is a set of pink underwear.
Nice. You can upgrade the strength, but you just want to pick one with slots.
Oh,
I think the difference between the rarity levels is just slots, and you can put any skill in it you want.
So. Right, so then you can like mod and upgrade and stuff.
The problem is upgrading those is expensive. Like I just bought this katana from a guy for $30,000.
Holy!
It's like a legendary one. It does 700 damage. I think it'll carry me through probably most of the game.
Well, so yeah, probably.
But like to upgrade it it'll require components from other legendary weapons. So.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've gotten fucking a little bit used to like the internal economy of how all this stuff works, right? Like you get these parts, you go into your inventory, you break them down so you can use those parts to build more med parts or more healing items for combat and more grenades and to upgrade your own weapons, right? And your own armor and stuff, right? It's a nice little loot, man. It's exactly like Neo. Just recycle all the fucking... Yeah. Everything you get is just a raw resource, you know? If you don't want to use it directly, you just recycle it all. So even this stuff, like I could break that down for purple parts if I want to eventually. You know, it's all just,
and then what do you do with the junk? Do you just sell that or break it down too? Like just all that
the clothing,
junk
I've kept all my clothing so far.
No, but like even just this junk stuff, like batteries and shit, or do you use those?
Oh, that's your components actually.
Those are okay.
That is the components. Yes.
I see.
You break stuff down, you get those components.
Okay.
And you use that to just make into everything else. You know, so you can go to the upgrade stage right here and pick any of these parts and use those raw bits to upgrade them. Right. It's a nice ingenious system. You know. And for every rarity level, they add a new part, and that you need to get from that specific rarity of breaking down.
Right. Fuck, pretty sick, man. Fucking.
That's wonderful. And when you find hacking in the world, if you hack in different levels, it gives you these resources too. So you assemble a nice stock of them, right? So you can just at any time, kind of outwardly. It's very unrestrictive system. You know, it's not meant to be like a Souls-like where you're locked into fucking your build or anything like that at all. Definitely not. You know.
Jinjoy saying people should just play the game.
Yeah, he should. Hey, Jingoy, how are you, brother?
What's up, Michael?
Hope you guys are well.
No bugs are crashing on the PC yet. Me neither, man. 20 hours in. I mean, fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very least, we can say, like, to evaluate something, you should assess its best instance, not what fucking it failed to say. You should assess what it's trying to say, right? At least if the failure is especially due to extrinsic concerns like somebody else's fucking computer. You know? That's
if this game has done anything for me, it's just made me want to upgrade my PC.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy with the way I can play it maxed out on 1080p resolution wise, or I can bump it up to 2K, drop the graphics a little bit, play it comfortably that way, no issues. So want to upgrade, but not necessary anyway. The game is fucking sick. It's great, man.
I really do love like this vision of the world. It's almost like fucking feudal. It's like in the Middle Ages when there was a couple of different like rich dudes or baronies. They owned everything.
Yeah, I was saying before how it seems such an advancement in, you know, just looking around. The world is clearly way ahead in the future than where we are right now. But it seems in the terms of that, like, what was I saying? Almost like the human life has like degenerated,
right?
And
it's
like
in a very true sense.
Fucked. I like this
There's
world.
people who call like late capitalism neo-feudal. Like it just results in a bunch of very rich people owning everything that everybody else uses to make their own money, right? So
We're almost there anyway.
Yeah, we are.
In real life.
Almost there. Except it's Bob Iger at Disney instead of fucking whatever Arasaka.
Fucking Mark Zuckerberg and shit. Or fucking
I'd rather Arasaka
Jeff Bezos.
And Militech. They're cool. Yeah. At least they make fucking guns instead of Disney movies. Give me a break. Bunch of pussies.
Hell yeah. Oh man, good times.
Yeah, it's been great.
So I think
it's time to cut her.
I think so. I think if anyone has any sort of apprehensions whatsoever for specifically for Cyberpunk, they should just drop it and play it right away. Like, what do you think? Fucking,
I definitely think so.
You know, if all this shit going around is, you know, bugs, this, that, give it a shot. It's
only a couple of times a generation that a game is this engrossing, and this is gonna fucking go down as one of those. And especially in a generation where the only comparable thing is really what, like.
Well, actually,
Outer Worlds. Actually.
I wanted to ask you really quickly.
That's Outer
Worlds, even like Watch
opinion.
Dogs.
Yeah,
like,
Watch Dogs
how does
is
Watch
like
Dogs depict a futuristic city, but compare it to this? That's the game I wanted to ask you about.
The next closest Cyberpunk game.
Right?
I was gonna say that before too.
But
less with the body modifications and shit like that. Yeah.
But that adds.
It does
to
have
the whole
like
thing,
the drones
right?
and stuff like that. It's like if this Watch Dogs should be called Cyberpunk, like
watered down or something.
Yeah,
like 2044.
Yeah. It's cool though, but that's a good fucking question. Or even the Surge 2 has elements like this as well, very much. Adrienne asked me this too, like what fucking other games or other properties right now have these cyberpunk elements going on, and there's a few of them, right?
Sorry, Jinjoy knows what's good. He wants RTX for fucking DLSS. I don't have RTX either. I have a 1080 Ti, so I haven't really had ray tracing on the PC or DLSS at all. But now I got a PS5, so
people say CD Projekt are like PC developers.
They are more, yeah.
Mean, right? Like their job is.
That's why they came out with the physical PC versions and everything. Like they're very PC centric.
Oh man, how funny is that? I think I'm plastered with the logo, eh?
Oh yeah, I saw that, but I think it doesn't come up on the, because I checked.
Epic.
Anyway, we'll check it later. But
I don't mind. I'm good.
I noticed that before, but
I'd rather look at that anyways.
Right. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's been a fun.
It's been our first live episode, I guess.
Gonna hack it into
it's been
a
pretty
podcast,
cool though. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too, man. I like Cyberpunk. Look at that.
Boom. Fucking sick. Thanks guys for watching us, and
thank you very much, and have a good evening. We fucking hope to have a drink with you soon. It definitely won't be here because we in New York region are going into lockdown tomorrow.
Lockdown, shit.
Perhaps, well, we'll talk about it.
Play some fucking Cyberpunk.
Play some Cyberpunk.
What better thing to do? Yeah.
What are you, a video game journalist?
Yeah.
Something wrong with you? Something wrong with your head? You have a virus? Yeah.
All right. I think that's good.